Hello, everyone. Welcome to FGC UCLA's Ursine Combo Lab audio. It's been a while, but we're on episode 21. Today, we'll be talking about some of the new releases that have came just at the end of last year, as well as that will be coming early this year regarding the fighting game market. And today, I'm joined by some of my trusty fellow podcast members. We've got Sayano Tedafas, we've had Retro Rage, and we have Storm Claymore.
Wickawa.
Yellow, yellow.
Hello, Mario.
Yep, and hopefully everything is good audio-wise, guys. Let me know if there's any issues regarding that. But yeah, we're just gonna go right in. Let's start first with I guess we got Tekken 8. We got Storm Claymore here to discuss a little bit about that. I saw some of the reviews for this game just from like the mainstream review outlets, and they've had a lot of positive comments on the game, at least except for the netcode, but that's a thing of its own, right? So you as a Tekken enthusiast, what are your thoughts on Tekken 8 so far?
Oh, Tekken is not just a good game, it's a great game. It's pretty much like built up from the ground up, most of it. It still keeps a lot of things that make Tekken great, like its explosive, dynamic gameplay. The character fan favorites are back. Adding in a lot more aggressive mechanics that will probably be more defined, and somehow players will find a more defensive route against Harada's wishes. But I will say that this is a game that we Tekken fans are very glad to move away from Tekken 7 because of a lot of things we have, a lot of issues with, such as the the 2D characters a lot of pros have to deal with, a lot of the gameplay doesn't make sense when it comes to it as a 3D game because some moves track and there's some inconsistencies with sidestepping. And with Tekken 8, obviously there's no 2D characters. Well, we don't know yet, but probably not. Moves are sidesteppable for once, and even Michael Murray had joked about it. And yeah, like every person that is competing is excited because they did cover a lot of new features, such as a really good practice mode where there's not only replays, but also you can engage in those replays. And also some very intuitive practice modes where you actually can learn respective to the practice mode instead of, like sitting in practice mode, just like grinding out like situations or punishes or those kind of stuff. It makes it worth practicing for. And also, there's gonna be our newcomers like Victor, Reina, and so forth, and some other old characters coming back. And it's quite surprising. I like to play Devil Jin, who is a lot different, hopefully different than what he is from Tekken 7 Beyond. But I'd like to try out like other characters like Reina. But overall, aside from the news from the online, I think that Tekken 8 has a really, really good future as a game itself, and also, just for fun for everyone.
Yeah, it's great to hear, and thanks for giving us a thoughtful and thorough response. As a person that spectates Tekken a lot in terms of the competitive scene, but I'm not necessarily like a Tekken mega fan, so to speak. It did seem at first that the changes they were doing gameplay wise were a bit averse, to say the least. Specifically regarding like the emphasis on keeping the offense going and seemingly taking away some of the more defensive oriented play that Tekken has been known for quite a while. Do you feel like that's the case for the game presently, or was that kind of just the early thoughts that typically don't have the full picture?
So yeah, that is a concern regarding to the flow of gameplay for Tekken, because Tekken 7 is a very like Tekken 7 rewards completely defensive plays, which became a huge turnoff for a lot of players um, and viewers, because you know if you want if you want perfect Tekken, you have to expect boring Tekken, and that's yeah, like you have like the best characters, especially with those who have a extremely good defensive um, gameplay, and it's unfortunate that it does get a little tiring over time because 60 seconds is a lot, and you have to do that like at least 3 to 4 times, and this is like every first to three or first to two. So, with that being said, Harada wanted to reduce this kind of defensive approach and focus more on aggressive gameplay, meaning that there's going to be what we call the heat system. Initially, during the betas, there would be two versions of heat systems, which initially sound crazy, but then it became a lot more, um, a little too much because it's like a it's like a very one-sided rushdown because of how much potential damage you'll be snowballing over through. So they reduced from two forms of heat system into like one, and that's pretty much it. Like an extra meter that everyone has accessibility. Um, they also included chip damage. Generally, Tekken does not incorporate chip damage, but because um, there are now tension because some moves have chip damage, and when you're in the heat system, you can employ chip damage from regular moves. I think it just makes it a lot more engaging with the players playing, because you can with depending on the move, you can actually regain health, or you can deprive your opponents of health, like on your offensive approach. So this is just a very early you know very early review, but I will say that who knows, maybe like because like even if like two players have no heat system, it's back to Tekken 7 again. We're all playing against um the heat the without without the heat system. So maybe somewhere down the line, someone's gonna eventually find a way to cheapen the game by playing super defensively. But regardless, I think it's a good change when it comes to aggressive approach now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for putting that into context. I think a lot of naturally a lot of our perspective is not, full when we first see things. So as long as it shapes out to be something that people enjoy as a novelty, but also feels and has the appearance of polishing, compared to previous entries in the Tekken series that people didn't receive as well, I think it'll work out well enough for the competitive scene. And the other important part, obviously, is that Tekken is catering towards more than just competitive players or even players that fiend online ranked. It's also catering towards a like quite a wide casual audience, especially when you look at some other fighting games. It's probably not as much as Street Fighter still, but a lot more than most other like anime fighting games. It's definitely attracting that sort of crowd. So it's important to keep them engaged in future entries too, because their money is definitely or their purchase is definitely worth a lot for retaining and keeping the series alive over time. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Sano, I know that you have to retire soon, so any thoughts on Tekken 8?
Jump on that. To me, it seemed like the heat is a simplification mechanic. It's like a more launches without adding more launchers or whatever. And also, it just teaches an easy way for people to keep plus pressure without learning how to do like down forward one scoots and stuff like that. But I think that's fine because the game was already a simple game from the move side. Like even though everyone had 100 moves, you'd use 9. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already just like making something that was already at that level into that. So now you have your go-to whatever moves to start things, but I think it was already there. I'm much more worried about the netcode situation. Um, I think that Tekken's in a unique position because it has so many players. It won't be that bad, right? Like there will
Right.
always be people near you. It becomes like much worse, like in KOF 15 when you have to fight the guy in Taiwan or whatever. Um, but yeah, just the Wi-Fi thing. Like there will be a lot of PS4s on Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's like 100% chance of that. So I'm hoping that it is actually improved. But T7 was kind of dicey sometimes, and do gamers in 2024 still want to slog through the mud? And there's so many other choices. So that's the make or break thing for me.
I feel like they're at a point where they feel like they can just get away with it. So it's to some degree it's like, all right, you have players that are are very adamant about improving the netcode of the game, and Harada's like, these players don't know what they're talking about, right? There's that part of it, but the art part of it
Mm-hmm.
is maybe they know that it's not good, and it's like we can shift our resources and focus elsewhere because people will still buy it. It's like the, you know, they're weighing what parts are things they can willingly set aside or like set lower in the priority list, where they'll still get good reviews, they'll still get good sales, and the game will still be successful overall. Especially given now that we know the Tekken World Tour will be fully offline. Uh, that to me is telling. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I know, yeah, go
And people were excited about that though.
ahead. I mean, but it's hard to not see the correlation, right?
That's true. They don't want it to look dumb on the screen.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely gonna improve uh, the reception of the competitive events because you can take them with more regard. If it's all offline, it's like, all right, this was legit. These were, if Knee beats Arslan, people won't put an asterisk on it because it was online. So there's
Mm-hmm.
that side to it. But at the same time, I can't help but feel that they are like just cutting corners in this specific area because they know
You're
that,
gonna NRS this shit. You'll
yeah.
buy it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's Tekken.
Yeah.
There's not a real competitor in the 3D fighting game space right now.
That's
So,
true. There's really nothing.
mm-hmm. But the good news is that,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, at least they're they're getting most of the other things right that are generally important. Like they put a story mode in the game. I know it sounds crazy to even say this, but they put a story mode in the game. They released on all these platforms simultaneously, no staggering in the platforms release. And on that note, no early access aside from specific promotional events that they've been doing, right? But there's not been any like early access marketing scam that Arxes has been favoring quite a bit lately. And I guess we can use that.
Do you think that's good or bad?
Yeah, I have opinions on it. I mean, it's kind of gonna shift topics to uni too, but yeah, I do have
Become quite
opinions.
common lately.
It has been, yeah. It's an interesting idea, but I don't know if it actually. It's definitely not consumer friendly. It's not consumer friendly. It's good for improving the marketing of the game, or like just the general visibility of the game, because everyone's gonna be going crazy about like, hey, this game is out before it's actually out, and I'm not a part of it, but it looks a lot of fun, right? So then people will be more inclined to buy it. Like maybe the
You think it's
deluxe
FOMO
edition.
based?
I think it is highly FOMO based. Yeah. It's tricky too though, because if you don't have a lot of benefits in the like upgraded edition package, then early access is like the zero effort way of providing a benefit, right? Like, just all you're doing is releasing or allowing your game to be played a few days earlier. That's like no extra effort on the developers, let alone the publishers, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, there was Street Fighter gave people colored 10 for Manon.
yeah,
It's literally the pre-order bonus. So, is
yeah,
it better or worse than that? They really don't want to give you shit.
right. I mean, to be fair, pre-orders is like a whole can of worms of its own as well, and it's not really a bad thing. Like, it's part of it. Again, it's just marketing campaign, right? But when
Well,
you,
you know, Tekken did 7 did a foul one. They had a character, pre-order only character for a long time.
oh really? I was not aware of
Yeah,
that.
I think it was Eliza.
Oh, that would make sense. So she became DLC later on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
that wouldn't be in character for French Bread, but I don't know. Maybe who knows? They probably got some ideas from Arxes at this point. Because I mean, hey, day one season pass, right? So,
I
but
think if
yeah,
you pre-order, you should get season pass. I think that's how it should work.
yeah, yeah. I
I think
think
Arxis is. I mean, I think Uni's really doing it right.
yeah, they handled that part well. I agree. And that one, you don't need the deluxe edition even. Like, you just need a pre-order. And in fact, it's pretty lenient. You don't even need a pre-order strictly. You just need to buy the game before like March 30th or something, and you get the
Yeah, that's
season
weird
pass
to
for
me.
free.
Like,
Yeah, it's
there's no
just
FOMO if there's a huge window like that.
yeah. I mean, hey, we'll take it, right? Consumers will take it,
Yeah,
but
I guess it's okay.
yeah, maybe they'll address that for the Uni 2.5 or something, HD remix. But we'll see. Um, Retro Rage, do you have any thoughts on Tekken 8, or have you have you
Yeah, I
done
do
it?
have thoughts.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So, Storm Claymore can expand on this. Doesn't the heat system give all characters like their own kind of install, right? So doesn't that mean that there's more knowledge checks? Like I want to make this parallel to like Sam Show, right? Sam Show, if you have rage, some properties or special moves change, right? But it's few and far between, and mostly it doesn't matter. But I heard in Tekken 8, like the heat changes to your special moves actually matters a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, you get extra
I think it
follow-ups.
depends on the character.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
welcome, Ray. Thanks for joining.
Go.
Yeah, so I like how does that affect the game, right? Like, isn't that worse for the game? Because then now you have more knowledge checks, and it's like kind of like, oh, everyone just installs, and then you have to play a whole totally different character now or whatever.
It's not a whole new character. It's like maybe 5 new moves max. Like it's not that big of a deal in my opinion.
So
It's a
that's
Tekken move anyway. It's just like he needs them, you know? He's
So
gonna knee
that-
him anyway, but he needs him with the left knee this time.
so that depends on the player and the character, right? Because this is one of the criticisms of Tekken 8 is that whoever gets heat first can pretty much snowball at any, player if they wanted to.
I don't think that's true because of recoverable health. Because when you
Well-
activate heat, if you lost all that health from someone else's heat action, you can recover most of it back.
You could, but it's gonna be a harder battle because of the amount of work you have to put in on
Sure.
the defensive side.
But they don't have heat. They don't have a defensive option. So I think
Yeah.
it's pretty well balanced.
Right.
Also, follow-up question. So Tekken 7 had a lot of tracking, right? Was the tracking added for new players to like try to get into the game, or like can just unga bunga? Or was that like?
Tracking added in like Tekken 6 or something?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't play Tekken.
I
but-
think tracking moves were added in Tekken 6 to my knowledge.
And tracking is bad, right? That's a bad thing that they added tracking.
Well, there's usually some other weakness that goes with it, or like their low reward.
Okay.
Everything's
And then
like
the 2D characters as
everything
DLC.
has a weakness except maybe the 2D ones, but I guess
That's just bait, right? They just released DLC that was like goaded, and
well, Kuma was base
people had to
roster.
buy them. Essentially, was that the DLC accessory for Tekken 7?
Oh, Cruise Sheep, by the way, you mentioned that like there's no like FOMO stuff with Tekken 8, but they have 72-hour early access for DLC characters when they come out.
Oh, okay. I definitely missed that. Then okay. Well, that one is definitely the same category, but I don't think it's as egregious as what ArcSys is doing with Uni 2, where it's a
I know like
literal.
console players get it early or something, right?
Yeah, we can get to that after, but yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't realize that Tekken 8 had the early access DLC. Yeah, Retro Age, did you have anything else you wanted to uh, slide in for Tekken 8?
So Tekken 8 doesn't have tracking, right? That's
There's
the.
there's tracking moves.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I don't know.
It's not like every move tracks or anything. It's like a very small specific few in a character's moveset. And I think it's fine.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah, I think overall Tekken 8 seems to be like quite an ambitious title, and it seems that most people. Well, I mean, obviously we're still before the game's actually out, but based on the reviews, based on the general buzz. Oh, go ahead.
You know what? I'm looking for a prediction here. So like SF6 had like a full court press, and they got 20K people a day now on SteamDB.
Mm-hmm.
Does Tekken have enough juice? Tekken used to be the reigning king. Tekken would always have like 6-7K when Street Fighter had like 2.5 or something like that. 2,500 people. Will Tekken be able to climb up to that 20K Street Fighter 6 level?
I don't think so.
Or
Because there's
you
no
don't think so?
modern. There's no like actual modern control. There's special style, but it's not anywhere close to modern controls in Street Fighter 6.
So you think that will just get the Tekken players? Like
Probably.
you're just gonna directly lift over all the retired T7 players?
You know what I'll say? I think Tekken 8 is still a strong brand name, so it might not live up to Street Fighter 6 exactly, but it'll still have some staying power that will allow it to be a strong performing fighting game title. And
I mean, it's super popular in the EU and Southeast Asia.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's not to say that Street Fighter isn't popular in those parts either, but Tekken 7 or Tekken in general specifically does have that like concentrated popularity for sure.
It feels like in locals people are more excited to play T7 than I saw for Street Fighter 6, but maybe I'm confused.
Yeah, again, I think Tekken does have a spectacle advantage. It's not, I mean, Street Fighter's flashy as well, but Tekken is like, especially for people that are like entry level or casual level, it's much easier to probably have fun and appreciate the game on that sense. But Street Fighter, not everyone gels with it in that manner right away. Although I do think Street Fighter 6 specifically has like excels in everything else, like we're in the actual video game, that Tekken might not necessarily have that edge in. But again, based on the critics' reviews, based on the general buzz around the game, it should perform pretty well, I'd imagine.
Isn't Heat from Tekken 8 like Drive Rush? Or am I capping?
Only the heat dash,
Oh, okay.
and it's once per round.
And Heat doesn't carry over per round, right? It's like new. You get a new
Yeah,
Heat bar.
You start with full bar.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah, okay. We'll have a lot of interesting stuff to look forward to. We can shift gears for now to the next game in line, or not really next, but it comes out a day before. So Uni 2. This is the sequel to the game that originally came out over 10 years ago now, which is pretty crazy to think of. Being published once again by Arc System Works. There's a lot to talk about for this game. So we already kind of hinted at it earlier, but for people that are on PlayStation, the stream is able to see the website I have open. It says coming January 25th, 2024, and then it shows the platforms, right? However, people that are on PlayStation are already able to play the game if they pre-ordered specifically. Oops. You guys can still hear me?
Bastards.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but Yeah, people that people that pre-order on PlayStation, specifically the deluxe edition, are already able to play the game. They've had early access to the game for nearly 2 days by now. And the third day is, or I shouldn't say nearly 2 days, over 2 days. And the third day is completing today. Tomorrow is when everyone else will be able to play the game. The reason, so earlier I kind of hinted at it, but the reason I'm not super on board with this is, again, it's a kind of effortless method of generating FOMO around the game, and also artificially inflating the value of the deluxe edition. When in the first place, the deluxe edition doesn't come with much compared to the standard edition, at least for the current time that you can purchase Uni 2. You're only really getting additional announcer options, like based on the characters, right? And that's always been the case for Uni. They've never pumped the deluxe edition with any extra goodies per se. But in this particular case, they decided to package the early access along with the deluxe edition. And I think this is, I mean, obviously the publisher's going to have more of influence on this kind of decision, but it's been done before with previously published ArcSys games of late, like not just this game. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you think it's a genuine way of getting this game to succeed, or is it like consumer unfriendly, or is it well-meaning? Will it pay off overall for the community and the publisher both?
You know what I hear? I hear Harushi doesn't support voice acting.
So true.
I'm just playing. That was just a joke.
No, that was a good one. You got me there.
It seemed clearly it was bait for streamers, right? Get in early and show the thing. And streamers are good for the game.
Yeah, I just feel like we've seen this before. That's the thing. We've seen a lot of, maybe honeymoon phase of popularity, and then people fall off of it very quickly. And I'm not sure if this is really the remedy.
You think it's predatory?
Yeah, I don't know if it benefits the consumer overall, at least, because like a lot of people have been eyeing the deluxe edition as like, oh, I will support the devs, right? Like they don't think of it anything else. I'll support the devs, right? But then there were a lot of people that didn't even know that early access was going to be a thing, because I think ArcSys announced it like the day before or something. I don't think this was known like several months prior, and they just decided like on a whim, hey, everyone gets early access if you pre-order the deluxe edition on PlayStation. And even if this were allowed on Switch and Steam as well, I would still feel the same level of discontent. But at least it's balanced out between the platforms properly. But part of the problem with this too is that a lot of people will be playing the game on Switch and Steam, and it's just another way of splitting the player base yet again, or causing people to like double dip, because like a lot of people maybe were on the fence about getting the PlayStation version.
Oh, that's true. There's no crossplay.
There's no
Oh
crossplay.
my god.
Yeah, exactly. So I think again, it's just very consumer unfriendly method of going about it, because naturally people want to be able to play a few days ahead of time to jump on board with everyone else that's playing, right? And this is like the exclusive matchmaking cycle as well. You'll be able to play with the likes of the top players that are playing online at this time, or the truly committed uni players, TM kind of thing, right? But come the release time, right? This is where a lot of people that are trying to pick up this game competitively have some catching up to do on the 3 days that happen. And trust me, 3 days might not sound like a lot, but for a well-researched game like Uni, where a lot of things are still going to be intact, for that matter, a lot of new things still being discovered, I think that 3 days of the game being in especially very, let's say, sweaty players' hands, right? Like, it's gonna be very overwhelming for people that are trying to play this game competitively, or at least start their competitive journey with this entry of the series. And what's to say that ArcSeas wouldn't extend that early access period in the future, right? To give themselves like more favorability for doing this kind of thing, right? So maybe they do like a week, right? Or even, okay, 2 weeks might be a little much and people might be suspicious on that. But at that point, right, it's just a glorified beta, right? Except only available for paying customers pretty much. So do you guys have any thoughts on this generally? Like maybe it's not Uni 2 specific, but just do you think this could be a trend for publishers to start to catch on to later on?
Would
You
you
know
feel
what,
better if it was both Steam and console?
At least it would soften the blow slightly for consumers for sure. But I I still think it's like, okay, obviously if this game had crossplay, then that's where I think it probably wouldn't matter that much, right? But the game doesn't have crossplay, so it just splits the player base. It causes people to have to buy the game multiple times if they want to play it right away. And I'm obviously not everyone's like that, but I'm talking about people that are trying to play like competitively day one, right? If you're trying to play competitively, you're not going to skip a single day that the game's available. It was the same way with I know we're on the podcast episode, right? But it's the same way with the Redacted for some of these other games that have been out. Do you think any of these players are really going to skip out on such an opportunity to play it, regardless of the ethics around it? If they want to become the best, they're probably not going to skip an opportunity. So in the same way for the early access, right? Like a lot of these, maybe they're not like a Clear Lamp or a Red Blade, right? But a lot of these people that want to get into the game competitively, maybe they originally planned on playing Steam because, you know, PC tends to be the best way to play a lot of these fighting games. But then they realized that PS4, yet again, gets the favorable treatment of early access, right? And the game not having crossplay just kind of makes it even more painful. So yeah, I do think the way it's done here is a bit worse than it could have been. But crossplay might have fixed the perception at least. Retrage, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say that you know what they're doing? They're trying to get as much money from the people they know that are going to buy their game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. Like you said, the players that are gonna play, they're gonna take advantage of these 3 extra days. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they're just trying to get as much money as possible. In my opinion, I don't think anybody is buying this game except people who already play the game. That's my opinion. There's not going to be any new players. Nobody cares. No one's like, I'm going to pick up Uni 2 as the fighting game that I want to play. That's my thoughts. I think they're just trying to get as much money as possible from the existing user base by putting this early release date thing. You know?
Because it's literally the same week as Tekken 8. Like, who is in the right mind as a casual is going to pick Uni 2 over Tekken?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yep. Good point there too. We didn't even talk about
Me.
that. Let's go. No, but we didn't even talk about that, right? Again, I think
It
this
was a
is
stupid decision, in my opinion.
yeah, it's a peculiar move, and I think ArcSeas again. I felt this way for some time, but they don't always make moves that necessarily are of the most benefit to French Bread, especially given that, in my opinion, they're competing against themselves slightly by continuing to publish Under Night and Birth. But that aside, like even if you don't consider that, like yeah, releasing it the day before another major fighting game release, or not even another, a more major fighting game release.
Literally suicide.
One of the
Yeah.
top 2. You know?
Yeah, literally, it's
It's
yeah.
literally the big 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It makes no sense. I mean, I
And
could
there's nothing for the rest of the year. There's nothing.
right. I mean, if they waited like maybe 2 more months from now, I think it would be the literal best time. But nope.
Yeah.
They released it. I mean, we've seen this song and dance before, right? Uniclair released at the end of I think it was the end of February. No. Oh, I'm mixing up the months, but it released close to around the same time, but like basically before COVID. And obviously COVID, no one saw coming, right? So that's a separate thing. But Grand Blue was also released around the same time. Now, in hindsight, because of COVID, it didn't really matter. But if we think about it just realistically, those two would have probably shared player bases, but it still would have hurt the overall success of each of them because of their close release time. And then they're like, yeah, let's do it again, because that's a great idea. We look back to Multi-Blood Type Lumina. That was a really good release window. Not just like announcement window, but release window, right? Because no other fighting game
Yeah,
came.
they ruled that area. People played it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, no one would have thought that they would be playing like, Multi-Blood Type Lumina in 2021, but there everyone was, right? And it had good netcode, at least for the time. Obviously, it had issues, which French Bread over time tried to fix, and hopefully the lessons have been learned and applied in Uni 2. We'll see. But
yeah, I think even MK stomped on its own balls by coming out so close to Street Fighter 6.
Oh yeah,
Because it was like SF6 was such a superior product, that they weren't going to pull anyone, and people weren't tired of it yet. If they came out maybe even 2 months later, people would be tired of Drive Rush.
I'm pretty sure they did it to time the release of Omni-Man with Invincible Season 2.
I guess so, but then he could have just been the first character or something like that.
Omni-Man is the first character, though.
Oh, isn't there a part 2 coming out? They could have timed it now.
Yeah, they timed. I think. Oh, I don't know. I don't really follow shows, but it's also timed to release with the whatever Peacemaker Season 2 is, and then it's also timed to release with the Boys Season whatever. Like the entire release schedule is like designed with like these releases in mind.
You could have moved around. You could have had part 2 be the Omni-Man, and everything else would have lined up. But yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's interesting with MK1 as well, because it wasn't just MK1 that felt the reverberations of SF6's success, but I think literally every other fighting game that will release after it will still be competing with SF6. I'm not kidding, because I mean the game is going to be popular for quite a while. I don't imagine it ever dropping down anytime soon. But at least for now, Uni 2 does have the edge of not having as much crossover with Street Fighter players, generally speaking. So most of the player bases don't intersect. Yeah, it won't be too.
I feel like GB Grand Blue's popularity has in part been because that player base is starving.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the other thing about Grand Blue is they have the Relink, right? That's coming out soon, which is not a fighting game, but I think that will help with just the marketing. Like, it's able to like remarket the fighting game by itself, which not a lot of other franchises have that like benefit. Obviously Grand Blue being a originally non-fighting MIP, but part of that is that Relink might also just do better than will do better than Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, just because it's not a fighting game. That's how it goes, right? So, but I mean, I think we still look at this and say that Uni 2's release window is just like it's set on the back foot from the very get-go, and it didn't need to be this way, but alas.
Can I get some explanation on what was the point of Uni 2? What is new about Uni 2? Like, I still don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what
Yeah,
is this game about?
Right. The main thing is, so there's some backstory, right? There's Uniclair. From the original Uni to Uniclair, the story did not progress. There were some new backstory elements being added, but everything between that time period was all like set up essentially for the real story. And now the real story is beginning and ending in Uni 2. That's the story side of it. The gameplay side of it, again, Uni is a series that just iterates upon its mechanics with every entry. So, especially to a lot of people at the service.
Like old style, like the Blaze Blues used to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good comparison. Uh, and yeah, it's one of the few series that still does in that way. But basically, they keep iterating upon the mechanics every entry. And if you look at the original game, it's unrecognizable from what the game is right now. The mechanics are just so distinct at this point. It's forged its own identity from the original Kusoge. But that being said, the new things that Uni 2 has, they changed the way the grid cycle works around like Celestial. So if you win half of the available grid blocks, then before the cycle makes a full revolution, then your cycle or your grid blocks automatically fill all the way up, and you get a 30% damage bonus. It's pretty crazy. It's a really big change that they did, and it's supposed to encourage people to play more intelligently around the cycle and be more present in mind of how much they're given to their opponent. So that was not something explicitly present in previous games. So they're adding that as like a deterrent in some ways. The other thing they added is a universal roll. It's done with the it's done with 3 plus D. D is just the universal mechanics button, pretty much. And this roll is very similar to a KOF 15 roll, where there's a lot of recovery at the end of it, right? But it's frame 1, strike invincible, all that stuff. The major gimmick about it is that if you successfully phase through something, then there's a certain period of time at the tail end of the roll that you're able to immediately block without being punished, but you can still be punished before that period of time begins. So that's supposed to be a very groundbreaking mechanic addition, although it's yet to be seen how much it'll impact how people play the game at the current time, because just 3 days is not enough for everything to be fully extracted from that mechanic. But it's still something people are keeping in mind quite a bit for right now. Aside from those two mechanics I just mentioned, a lot of characters are getting new moves. A lot of inputs are being changed to make them slightly easier. Just keeping them in line with more modern style of inputs, but nothing like major there. There's 3 new characters in the base game being added, and the season pass for season 1 will also introduce 3 additional characters. So the roster is going to be 23 when the game releases. Am I missing anything else? I think other stuff that they changed is it's kind of hard to explain without getting in too much detail, but those are like the biggest things, and people are still discovering what's new as we speak. Oh, I guess the one other thing that's big is they added this universal hit confirm mechanic done with 5 A plus B, and it allows every character to get a hard knockdown off of a combo, for example, and it's not comboable off of, but it allows for gaining grid or losing grid depending on how deep into your combo you are. So that one is supposed to impact how people play for the cycle quite a bit, because before people were dropping combos midway through if they saw the cycle was coming up and they needed to gain a little bit additional grid in order to try to win it. But now people will just make use of this mechanic to do that and still get like a good knockdown at the cost of like damage, for example. But yeah, those are like
which one gives you grid? The early, using it early or using it late?
Using it earlier gives you more grid. After a certain point, if your combo's too scaled, then you actually lose grid by doing it. But
okay, so you trade. It's like a damage OP grid triumvirate.
yeah, that's a good way to think of it. The important part though is that it always hard knocks down. So some characters actually never got hard knockdowns from their combos, but now
That's
every character, yeah, no, it is crazy. It's unbelievable, right? In modern fighting game, where that's not the case, but now with this mechanic, every character can get a hard knockdown, but we'll see how the routing looks over time for that. But yeah, again, there's a lot more that I didn't touch on, but those are like the high level stuff that they're changing. Something else I didn't mention is Arc System Works is doing official world tour for, I shouldn't say official world tour, like as part of the Arc System Works world tour, Uni's going to be part of it. So that's nice because there is official tournament support from the publisher. And that way, people will be more encouraged to play the game competitively too, because Uniclear definitely had kind of a low as far as official tournaments went. At least there were still online tournaments being run and all of that, but in terms of like large scale offline tournaments outside of North
There was
America.
the UCLA PRs.
Yeah, true. We did have that. And hey, one day hopefully we'll get the support of Arc System Works perhaps on whatever we do. But yeah, so it is good news that they are bringing that back as part of like the World Tour. I'm hoping that Evo Japan will have a good turnout, because I think that's where the game can potentially have its biggest exposure to a lot of people.
Are you gonna go?
I am gonna go actually. Yeah, I do plan on going there.
Holy moly!
Yeah, I'm gonna also try to go to KGP. If you guys aren't familiar with KGP, KSB was like a community-run event for a lot of fighting games that unfortunately shut its doors really at the dawn of COVID. But now in the
Oh,
form of
bummer.
yeah, it's unfortunate because it's just money. When it's community run, everyone struggles with that, right? But
Yeah.
KGP is like the resurrection of KSB, so everything's good now. We're able to have Uni 2 there as well this year. I'm gonna try to make it there as well, but it's gonna be a stacked tournament, I imagine, because all of the Uni greats that are in Japan go there. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
Are you going to Shinjuku Sports Land?
I will try. I have a lot of arcades I have in mind. I want to try to
Yeah.
at least visit, but yeah, Shinjuku Sports Land is definitely at the top of the list.
Shop Bar Lucy's great too. I like that spot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I had watched their streams a lot some years ago, so yeah, I'll probably check that out too. But yeah, from the non like I know some of you here are experienced with uni, others maybe not as much, but from like the perspective that you guys have, what are your thoughts on Uni 2? Do you think it'll be a pretty decent release, or do you think it's going to be
In here. I think iterative releases are like smart for fighting games because it maintains your core, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you get 100% of the Uniclear people who loved it, except for people who have retired from fighting games, of course. And then you then get those people saying it's good because of this, and that stuff still exists, you know? Like Guilty Gear did something kind of funny, right? So Uniclear is going to be the opposite of that. So I know what I'm going to get, and I know that that is a good thing, that whatever that is. So I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else, you guys? Do you have? Are you looking forward to it, or you're gonna check it out from afar?
If this game succeeds in sales, I will pick up the game. But I guarantee you that it will do bad. And not because it's a bad game, but because it's an anime fighting game with no very iconic IP. There you go. There I've said it. If it does good, I'll buy it. Show me the numbers and I'll buy it and I'll play it. But otherwise, I'm that sure that it's not gonna do very well.
Okay. Do I have your word then? Are you committed that you'll buy it if it does?
I
well?
will buy it if it sells well. I will.
Okay,
You can
okay.
hold me to it. Get the screenshot right here.
All right, I'll take your word for it then. Yeah. Okay. Any else of you want to mention anything on it? I do have a bit more to say on Uni 2, but I also want to be conscious of the time spent. So, in the meantime, I did find on the official website some of the previous clips showing something very important that I think hasn't been talked about enough regarding Uni 2's release. So, small IP aside, awkward release window aside, I think Uni 2 rivals, or at least has even better quality of life than even what we're seeing in SF6. Now, clearly SF6 has done it with AAA backing, right? So naturally, it's going to be higher quality in presentation and all of that. But some of the stuff we're seeing in Uni 2 is like just next level quality of life that really puts other fighting games to shame that have been released recently. We're seeing save states in training mode. We're seeing frame data in training mode, on top of all the other things that Uni's had in the past with reversal recordings, solid training dummy options, battle speed being able to be changed in the combo trial mode, and now that's ported over to the training mode as well. Having a reaction trainer for throw techs and things of the like. The list goes on. I know I'm
think
forgetting
Tekken
more.
8 has all of these. Not gonna lie, except for maybe slowing down the speed during combo trials. But I think it has literally everything else that you just mentioned.
Yeah, and which is surprising too, because Tekken would not
Tekken
be the
8's
game I would
training mode, I think,
expect.
is gonna be insanely good.
Mm-mm. Yeah, Tekken 8 would not be the game I would expect to have a lot of these things, but that is a pleasant surprise.
I mean, they took replay takeover to the next level.
I saw.
You know, you could go on leaderboards and like look up, like, let's say you want to look up a match r/slash versus Knee or whatever. You can take control of Knee's character, and then you can just do a match from that point on, from Knee's position. And also download ghost data of anyone. It's really cool.
Yeah, the replay takeover that Uni's got, it's absolutely good. The one thing that I think people were taking note of on Twitter is that you can download other people's replays and do replay takeover on those. And obviously, that's a very ripe content opportunity right there.
Oh
But,
yeah.
beyond that, I mean, that means that if you see a top player like Notes or Clear Lamp doing some setup that you want to practice against, then it's literally free. Like, you just snipe their replay, you do the replay takeover right there, and boom, now you know how to defend against the top player setup, right?
I can see the diphone video in my head.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think people will go wild with that. It's a good thing though. Again, it's something that might not get a lot of like acclaim in and of itself, especially given the game it's in. But at least it gives developers ideas on what they can do for their own games. Hopefully build upon whatever they've got in the gameplay foundation. And I will say like I know that we aren't firing strays at some of these other games that aren't releasing exactly right now, but I mean, this puts Strive to shame. Like, my goodness, you guys. Like, Strive released with, like, by comparison, Strive released with hardly as much quality of life as what we're getting in some of these newer games that are coming out right now.
Oh my god, it's even worse with MK1. It's got to be like the 10-year-old training mode.
Oh,
I
dear.
swear. It's pretty bad.
Wasn't MK one of those games that had like a good command list at one point, like was considered to have a good command list?
So it used to have, well, the command list was like pretty cool in like older games. You could pin the command list to the screen. If you like, a lot of like content creators would do that, and they took it out on launch for MK1. Like, it just wasn't there for some reason. A feature that was a staple for 2 to 3 games, and it's just not here now. But I mean, they added it in a patch later. But regardless, I think the training mode is bad. You know how like every game, if you like hold reset and a direction, or like any 2D game, if you hold reset and a direction, you like go to that part of the stage,
Yeah.
or like you can change character. You can't do that in MK1. So you have to always go into the settings and cycle through. You have to do that.
That's
It's
so
just, and there's no in Strive you can like preset, so like on after block, like you can make it force jump, like without recording the bot. You can make him select, okay, I'll select him, so after block he'll press jab or something, right?
Mhm.
You have to manually record everything for the dummy in MK1.
Oh, that's so bad.
There's no presets or anything.
Wow. Yeah, that, I mean, to me that speaks clearly to how they don't expect people to, or the people that buy their game to.
I guess they
want those
just,
things.
I think they're just resting on their laurels, or they're just getting comfy. They don't want to
Sounds
actually
like it.
try to innovate too much, it's outside of the gameplay at least.
Yeah, they're picking and choosing. I see.
Yeah.
Guys taking shots at Guilty Gear Strive and NRS. Pretty bold. Pretty
well,
bold.
I had to mention the quality of life part, because again, ArcSys is the publisher after all, right?
Strive, you can't even get a fucking game anymore because their netcode is junky trying to connect people on those stupid fucking stations. Those stupid freaking stations.
Yeah, it's amusing. They really doubled down on their online mode system, and I don't yeah.
Oh yeah. I haven't played enough Granblue to know, but I think someone was saying that like the training mode options in Strive and Granblue are not the same. Like there's some that are in Granblue that aren't in Strive. There's some in Strive that aren't in Granblue.
Wild.
Like it's just not consistent. Their games just aren't consistent.
Yeah.
Granblue did give you a little pseudo frame data. You would like turn a color if you were plus or minus.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
Oh no, I think there's like
Alright.
actual frame data in Rising. Like you can actually.
Oh, okay, that's
remember-
nice.
Yeah. I remember seeing that at least.
What topic are we on right now?
I think we're heading towards Rising, but is
Yeah.
that EGP?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's-
EGP, feel free. I think you missed when we were talking about Tekken. Feel free if you want to
You
just
want to
talk
No,
about
he wants
Tekken.
to talk about Uni. Go ahead, EGP.
Oh, Uni.
Tell us about Uni.
Tell us how much you love Uni, dude.
Tell us all about
I
your
thought the game
favorite
came out
character.
already.
Well,
PS.
No, it did not.
it's in early
Not,
access.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
That's fake news.
Okay. Yeah, in seriousness, do you have any thoughts on Tekken 8? Or, I mean, Uni 2 as well, if you'd like, but do you have any thoughts on Tekken 8 you wanted to get in?
Tekken 8. It comes out in like 2 days. I think everyone's talking about that one review that says the netcode sucks, and it's expected, unfortunately. So. So.
Yep.
Well, does
Maybe
that temper your excitement at all, or do you not give a shit? You target Tekken player demo.
It's disappointing, but that's to be expected, unfortunately, with Bandai Namco and how they make video games.
Okay, so you still got the credit. You're still getting the credit card out of the wallet. You're just sighing a little.
Yeah, I just want to preload it already.
All right, he's excited.
Yeah, excitement is understandable. It is a new release, and
It looks slick. The demo's slick. The menus and all the little quips they say to each other and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, those intros are really really fun.
Yeah, I think Steve is like the only one that sticks out like a sore thumb. Especially his voice acting. He sounds like the Wii Sports guy. I think people were saying that.
I think he's depressed, so that's why he kind of looks like that. He went through a rough patch during the events of 7 and 8. Apparently,
he's like mewing in the game. Like his jaw is so massive.
yeah, I think. But apparently Steve's really good, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he just looks weird and sounds weird.
well, okay. I guess we'll keep an eye on Steve, checking on him once in a while, see if he's doing okay. But aside from that, anything else you had in mind, EGP?
No, not really.
All right, then we can talk about Granblue a little more. So, unfortunately, one of our Granblue aficionados, Prince Waka, wasn't able to join us tonight. I think he's been playing a lot of Granblue recently. But aside from that, have any of you that are in the call right now played much of the new Granblue Rising? And what are your thoughts on it, if so?
My first thought, as somebody who bought the $60 version, the first game, I feel kind of ripped off, from a casual perspective, right? Well, we didn't get rollback in the first game, and now they release another game, which is very similar. Now they're giving us rollback, and nobody's gonna play the old version, so
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how I feel from a casual perspective. I mean, it's free technically. Yeah, it's a free. It's just like there's a free edition, but they should
Definitely got. You definitely got. I agree with you.
They
And
should
what
have
was it,
been
like
like
2 years?
a $20 like update. Like this, it feels like when they go from like Super Street Fighter 4 to like Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Except I have to spend an extra like $20 instead of just like a $20 like DLC patch. So
Yeah, I think what was especially messed up was that Grand Blue, the original Grand Blue, almost never went on sale, like for a long time, right? And it was such a unfortunate, story about it because of code naturally. But then afterwards, they were like, "Yeah, we've got a couple of patches that we still want to give to you guys. Don't get your hopes up though, right? Like presumably, right?" And then suddenly, Rising is announced, and people are like, "Yay" and "No" at the same time.
I feel like nobody expected Rising to happen ever.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it would have seemed to most people that the original Grand Blue was on maintenance mode. I mean, why would they even bother patching the game, right? When it had run its course in theory. Although maybe it was just a way of trying to keep it slightly alive until Rising was ready. Who knows? But that aside, I can give my perspective a little bit, and if any of you want to comment on it, feel free. So Grand Blue is not a series, an IP, or a game for that matter that caught my eye ever. The first one did. I was keeping up with some of the findings that people had early on regarding the burrito OS that was found with throw text and I think it was the guard button, something like that. So this game, I wasn't super excited for it. I mean, part of it too is that I'm not. It was during a time where I was not really enthused about fighting games, right? But the other side of it too is they seem to be doing their very best to try to have options in the game to cater towards traditionally not fighting game players, right? I heard Waka talk about the Fall Guys mode. That seems to have been the highest spectacle based on the cheers that were at the in-person Evo last year. I'm not sure if you guys remember if any of you were in the stadium during that. All the cheers were for the Fall Guys mode for the most part when they were announcing the stuff. But for the actual gameplay within the trailer, it was like, who knows what that would say. But anyway, apart from that, I think we got to talk about one of the most glaring problems that the game seems to have right now, and that is the problem of Nier. And I guess to some degree Shix as well, but Nier is definitely a menace of a character, so it would seem. A lot of people have complained about how easy she is to pilot and frankly like how far you can get with very little like time needed to improve. So much so that I believe I saw like a tournament result or something. It wasn't really anything egregious compared to like, Leroy Japan 2020 or anything, but there were a number of Niers that made it into like the top 8. And then there was also the fact that the player that piloted Nier was not as experienced as some of the other players that made top 8, but they still like a cruise of a time basically. So do you guys have any thoughts on this or anything else about Grand Blue that I mentioned? If not, it's okay.
I think Nier is one of the most egregious top tiers I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
How do I say this? Is it clear they wanted her to be better than everyone else, or is it unintentional?
I feel like it's probably unintentional.
Unintentional. It happens. It's
Like,
been a
she
problem in
she
fighting
sticks
games.
out like a sore thumb. Like, goddamn.
It's been a problem in fighting games since what they were made. It happens. I'm pretty sure everyone's probably just waiting for a patch to happen. I will say I think it is a bit harder to balance simpler fighting games.
Yeah.
To be nice with you, to be like Grand Blue Rising, and then also Street Fighter 6. We see the Luke, JP, all that crap happen. I think it's a bit harder just because if you make if let's say a character only has like 10 moves, right, that they use, if you nerf one, it'll hit them really, really hard. Or if you buff like another tool, right, it's gonna buff them way more relatively to the other characters. happened with in Tekken 7. This happened with Deviljin because like he only uses like 6 moves and they nerfed like one of the moves he uses all the time, so it pushed him down all the way to mid tier. So that's kind of the consequence of making really simple things and then like having to patch them afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So again, with more, there is a more nuance. There might be more, I guess, loopholes you could find, but I'm not too in depth in like the competitive scene for Grand Blue.
Yeah, I can't
I
say
remember-
I am either. Oh, good. Yeah. Good. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I remember I've like maybe like 20 hours in Grand Blue, so not a lot. And then this one guy won in games. He had like half the hours that I did. And he plays near, and I was like getting hit with like 40% combos from like half screen away because I pressed a jab. I'm like, it's, and he could just like, and then he does that into like a meaty, like it's like that multi-hit move that like
Mhm.
forces you to block, and then he can do like an overhead cross up, or he
Mhm.
can like do a throw or like whatever. And it's really like annoying to do. Maybe I don't know. My character's fine. It's not like I'm playing a bad character, but it's just there just feels like a gap in power because Nier is dominant in any part of the screen,
Um,
like very very strongly.
Yeah, part of
a
it.
hot take,
You go.
but
Yeah.
I think that public characters should always be better than the rest of the cast. So
But okay,
Is
the
she
problem
really a
is
public character?
she's brain dead easy.
Is she
you should
really a
always,
public character?
I don't know. I think my character should be just better than other characters. That's
Okay. Well, if they're hard, then like okay maybe, but like she's like brain. I see people like they just use like 3 special moves, and it looks super easy to loop.
It
Oh
all.
yeah, because she also has special to special cancel, so like it's even easier.
Yeah, for that
honestly
matter, there's no way to, dude. She's not a puppet character. Okay, like let's clear that up right now. um, yeah, what Ridiculous said is telling because yeah, there's a difference between having like okay, there could be like yeah a genuine balance problem where things are unintended, but when you have a character that's like, I think how did 3K call it like fumble proof characters like this? Like this is like another level of sad for a competitive game, no less. But I have no investment in Grand Blue, so it does not matter to me, right? But I've seen people complain about this, so I thought I'd mention it. It's good to hear thoughts on it, though. Yeah, I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Grand Blue is trash. I came in when I first got Grand Blue. I came expecting like some anime Street Fighter, but what I got was not Street Fighter and only cringe.
Maybe
That's
the
what I
old
got.
one was anime Street Fighter, but not this one. Especially with ultimate skills.
And then this new game comes out. You know, I don't even care about this new game. I'm more excited about that Grand Blue relink. You know,
Yeah,
they're marketing against themselves. I feel like
I've
dude,
always
why
been,
would I go out and get
pretty vocal
cringed
about my
on?
complaints with even the original Grand Blue. Like I thought that $60 for like 10 characters was kind of not worth it.
Has any fighting game been worth it, except for like in recent times, except for SF6, really? Like, let's be honest with ourselves.
I think I think characters need like even like Shrive. I think it needed a couple more characters. Street Fighter 6. I don't know. Maybe like one more character, but I think Tekken's giving actually a really crazy amount, like 32 characters. Like that's I 31. Panda doesn't count. Don't let them lie to you, but they actually give a pretty good amount.
Panda doesn't count. What do you mean?
How's Uni 2's roster? How's their starting roster for that game?
I mean, okay, Uni 2 has to be evaluated differently because again, Uni is a series that's iterated upon itself the
As
whole
if
way.
Tekken isn't.
Oh no, but Tekken, don't they change engines? They changed to Unreal.
That's true.
Not long ago. Like
They
Uni's literally the
changed-
same engine the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, Uni is 23 characters.
23.
Yeah.
How many new characters are in there?
For
It's like
Uni
3 or
2
4, right?
on release, it's 3 characters that are
3,
new,
okay.
but Season Pass will have 3 more. But the thing is, the Season Pass is going to be like spoon fed throughout the year. So
Okay.
yeah, basically 23. The thing is, like, it's 23 characters of like Uni. It's not 23 characters of, like Grand Blue. You know, you get what I mean, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like the Uni still has that mid 2010s arcade fighting game style game design. So each character is a lot packed into them compared to like your respective character from like most modern fighting games. Uh, what would be a good example? Like it would be like if KOF 15 had like no, I mean yeah, it would just be like if like KOF 15's base roster basically, where you know yeah, KOF characters movesets are a bit
I think
smaller.
they had a lot of characters. That was a really good deal.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Not the netcode though.
yeah. KOF 15 had
That's
issues to say the
questionable.
least. Yeah, I mean it's still around, it's still here. It's not gone, but you know it's going to be hard for it to keep up with SF6 and the likes of that. Okay, in any case, it sounds like we've gotten out.
Wait. I have
Yeah.
a,
Oh, yeah,
does
go ahead.
more or less characters actually matter?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, the
Like you
quality
can
of
have
the
a
character.
base roster of 8, and I feel like it wouldn't matter.
It does matter depending on the quality of the characters and the the game mechanics that you're getting out of those characters. So like, yeah, the number itself doesn't like paint the whole picture, right? But it's it's still worth considering what you're getting out of the game in terms of the fun, the depth, you know.
Jump Force got like what 60 characters. I don't think any of them are deep though.
They aren't. They aren't. I just feel like in
Modern
fighting
Grand
games,
Blue,
you really only play like 3 characters, and like that's it. Unless you're
yeah,
like
but there's
God
variety of who
gamer.
you're fighting against and what you got to lab and all that stuff. Makes it more interesting if there's more characters. And also finding a character you actually like.
Yeah.
It's usually 1 out of 30.
I mean, I think about it like this: the Grand Blue Rising demo has 4 characters, and the $60 game had 11. Right, its first version, so it makes you think, right?
Ooh.
Shots fired. All right, well,
Characters are important. They sell games.
oh, totally agree. I mean, you know what else sells good netcode? Tell that to Harada. I know he's gonna need to hear it. All right. Well, it sounds like we've gotten most of our thoughts in there. Unless that's not the case, if you guys would like to get any more thoughts in, now's the time.
If you guys need any info on Tekken 8, I'm definitely the person to talk to. But it seems kind of simple what Tekken 8 is going for.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I appreciate your the extension and the offer. I think there's a number of Tekken 8 interested people in the server, so yeah, let's make sure to have them. Make sure to treat them well, basically. Anyway, all right. Well, I think there are a couple of other releases that might come later. Perhaps there's that one. I think there's that one fighting game that big company in SoCal is trying to work on. They're figuring it out. I don't know if it'll come out, but or I don't know if it'll come out this year rather, but they'll figure it out probably.
A certain project.
I have,
Yeah,
I
certain
have a gut
projects.
feeling that we'll get a beta at the end of the year and then a full release next year. Is a gut feeling of mine. I don't know.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
Because they do that. They did that with other games. They did it with LOR. They would do like a beta at the end of the year and then release it next year.
I mean, in light of the stuff internally, there might be some more delays. To be honest, I don't know how they're redirecting the resources, but Project L seems like they're keeping the project going steadily, hopefully. But I mean, we never know if there were already more delays, and obviously because they didn't announce any dates, we wouldn't know, right? So
They better not lay off like what's his name that's doing the balance?
Pat,
name again?
Or
Not Pat. I don't think he's on the team.
Apology Man. Pat is on the team.
He's on the team. Wait,
Yeah,
Pat
yeah.
Flip is on the team.
yeah.
I thought Apology Man. No, not Apology. I thought Pat the Flip was like not working on like the game right now.
Oh right.
He's
I don't know
literally
right now.
at. I think he's it.
He's at Riot for sure.
teaching the other players, the employees, how to play. So he's got some involvement.
Unconquerable. Yeah, keep that guy.
He's on
Oh.
it. Who else was on it?
That guy
Clockwork
knows
was
what
on
he's
it.
doing.
There
Marlon Pie.
was Marlon Pie, yeah.
But yeah, in any case, I mean, since they had it at Evo to play, and I was among those that played it at Evo, the game felt fine. It felt pretty fun to play. It's clear that they have a lot of work that they feel like they need to do. But given that they've already had it in the public's hands, at least at one instance in time, I do imagine a closed beta is on the way at some point. Again, though, probably not this year. Who knows, right? But I doubt it based on the internal happenings of the company right now. Sino, were there any other games that we missed that are on the way? Oh, I think Sano might be muted right
I
now.
guess if you're
Retro Rage.
pushing it, DLC.
Yo, I wanted to.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I wanted to say about Project L.
Go
I
ahead.
think it does get pushed. I also think that there's no way it's going to be free to play now after all this, becoming profitable stuff
Mm-hmm.
with the
Free to play
recent
is the
layoffs and stuff
profitable
like that.
though. That's how they
It
make
is
their money.
if you have the population already. But fighting game players aren't reliable enough for that. They're going to be coming for your 50 or 60. Mark
Agreeable.
my words.
Agreeable.
And also, I think they're going to scale back the community support for it from whatever gamers
I feel
will
like it'll
stop.
be a
or
lot like
something would be-
LOR, and where it'll have a small team that gets
Exactly.
patched infrequently.
Yeah, they got good people in to help make it, but I think this is all of the game. It's
And
going to
then
get.
it'll go into maintenance mode, and then we'll just have a finished game.
That's my prediction.
Awesome.
I mean, it might be great. It might bring people in, but how many people like into the competitive side does Street Fighter 6 really bring? You know.
Yeah, what's interesting to me...
Like-
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was my thought.
Okay. Yeah, what's interesting to me is LOR, right? I mean, okay, LOR obviously we can't just look at it and say, "Oh, that game failed, therefore blah blah blah," right? Because there's a lot of factors and it's hard to look at them individually. But that being said, it was trying to take on like a relatively more popular formula, more mainstream formula for that matter than what fighting games would ever be, in the form of digital card games. And even that didn't succeed, right? The game is going on maintenance.
It was
mode,
licensed to
effectively.
print money card game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, given okay, it basically in my mind, Project L, as I think you were going in this direction, Sano, but Project L has to be a moneymaker for Riot
Yep.
at this point, and if it doesn't,
I don't think when
Yeah.
they started it, I don't think it had to be when they started it.
yeah, agreed.
I think bringing Cat the Flip and all these people in, I think they were just making a fun thing to begin with. But I think things have changed.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, this sounds like it's going to be an expensive game to make now. I mean, they've taken a long time on it. They've hired a lot of big names for it. They've had to shut down a number of other works that they've done just to cut down on cost, and they're keeping Project L intact, right? So, with all this being said, if LOR is the one where the plug is being pulled on, and just like a relatively maybe uninformed guess, but a guess nonetheless. I don't know if Project L does better than LOR, right? And if that's the case, like that's really bad.
Yeah.
That's really, really bad if that's the case.
I have I think there's one chance that Project L does well, and it's the fact that the 2v2 mode exists.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the gap in like the kind of game you have from when you're going from like a 1v1 game to like a team game is like, even if it's just one other person, is huge. Like the mentality shift is different because you add something that wasn't there before, which is teamwork and like relying on another person, which helps you kind of feel less responsible for your losses. You can just blame it on your partner.
Can I be evil here? Multiverses happened.
That's completely different. Like that died for a completely different factor.
But
Man,
that was a 2v2 in the game
It
that
was.
had 4v4s. A
It
genre
was.
that had 4v4s.
I'm what's it called? I'm kind of my take has been the same. It's try to get a bunch of League players to play the least popular gaming genre. I don't know, and then it's gonna be big in the fighting game community, but outside of it, I don't know. And multiverses failed, and more people like Smash, so
Multiverses just plays bad.
ooh, and then multiverses, huh? That's another game you could talk about here. Because when is it? Is it coming out this
It
year?
might
Next
come
year?
back.
I don't know.
Might come back.
Yeah, Game of the Year winner, by the way. Okay.
Hey,
The best fighting game.
People that
Yeah, I
spent
know, right?
$80 on that game and they can't play it right now. So
Yeah, those
interesting.
those $80 people got mega scammed. We're talking about Ubisoft, where they're like, you got to get used to the idea of not owning your game. What about the idea of not being able to play the game you bought? Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, so I guess are we satisfied with the thoughts we got in for Project L? Yeah. I don't know. Like, the metric for me is like it has to do better than LOR to be the bare minimum of tolerable for the company. And if it doesn't do better than LOR, it's done. It's over.
I hope it does. I'm faulting fighting gamers here. I don't trust our community
Right. No,
to
I mean,
prop up as many games as are out right now.
and let's be real, it's going to be expensive for Riot to make that push to try to make it do better than LOR, right? Because they have to put in a lot of resources into the marketing, into maybe the competitive scene. Not so much so that they overstep on it, but enough where people know about the game and it gets enough of an incentive for like high profile players to be interested in grinding the game out and stuff. That all matters. It's unfortunate though, because I think people are, I mean, I don't think it's not any longer the case, but people at one point were misguided on how many League players would actually be interested in Project L. Because let's be real, most of the League players, they play League, they play TFT, maybe they play Wild Rift, but otherwise, I mean, they're stuck with the worst game known to man, right? They're not really crossing over to other genres just because it's a league IP, right? So we're probably
Why would you?
yeah.
The league game takes 3 hours already.
Yeah. Well, that's a separate
For
thing.
anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's its own story. In any case, though, I guess the gameplay itself, from what we can know so far, like at least in my opinion, the game was fine. Like, it's not a bad fighting game currently, but that's not enough, right? Saying it's not bad is not enough. Like that's not gonna pull the company out of the rut they're in right now, especially if they're deciding. Like again, you guys, these are, I imagine, very hard decisions for execs to make, whether to keep products like this that are unproven, where they've dumped a lot of resources into them, keep them alive, right? Especially a fighting game, no less. So it really has to do well. Otherwise, they're in big trouble.
Nah, screw Riot Games, man.
Well-
They can go die in the hole.
Oh,
I don't care if their Project L doesn't ever come out. I don't care, man. That company can go sink. There you go. That's my take.
To be honest, I can't disagree with that. But we also got to look at this from the both sides, you know.
I need them to be alive so they can make more Arcane. That's all I need.
Okay, but I mean, at that point, the
I want
employees
to see the
that
fighting
made
game. I want to see what they can do. We're lucky that it got they were already far enough in production before the cuts came.
yeah, exactly. It's like harder to pull out at that point.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, people have seen the game, people have played the game. So, okay, well,
Also, what is there else to look forward to other than Project L? What's big on the horizon? Everything came out.
Not
The
fighting
MMO?
games. That's what.
The
Dude, there's so
MMO?
many good games coming out. Holy crap!
There's the
It's
Riot
insane.
MMO, yeah.
I mean, they didn't even mention it in the internal email nor the article.
I feel like that's where they're putting all their eggs in.
Yeah,
There's
but-
a Hunter x Hunter game. That may be a
Oh
arena
yeah, there's
fighter.
the 18 Hunter game. Good. That's a good one
Yeah.
actually. I'm excited.
Yeah, I like meme games. Hopefully
Arc
it's
just will
fun.
announce something at Evo this year. I feel
I'm
like
wait.
it
I'm
feels
waiting
around
for
that time.
gameplay. It's not a fighting game until I see gameplay. So
It's 18.
I mean,
18 will give you a fighting game. You want to hire them if you want to do an arena fighter.
dude, they said it's
True.
a real traditional fighting game. So, like the
Japanese.
Japanese, yeah. So we'll see.
yeah, sure it
It's
is.
happening.
Yo, if this game succeeds, they might pick up Naruto again. Oh.
Dude,
Well, why
Bleach
would
Yeah,
you
though.
that would be
though?
cool.
Why would you when you can make like Ultimate Ninja Storm 5 and just be lazy?
Yeah, that's
That's
actually
CyberConnect
true.
Why
too.
not do both? Look at
That's
DBZ.
not aiding.
You get Budokai and
Budokai
DBFC.
4 or the new Budokai Zero, what is Dragon Ball Zero or whatever?
I think that Jujutsu Kaisen game kind of shows that they still love making these half-assed arena fighters that
I
don't
love
do
to buy
anything.
them.
I will say
Yeah,
though.
I heard Kill la Kill was the best arena fighter, and that was Arxis. So maybe one day we'll get a good anime arena fighter.
For now, it's just
Gundam
it's just
Extreme
Gundam.
versus yeah.
But that's but you have to live in Japan, to play it.
No, you're right though. Aside from Gundam Extreme versus yeah, Kill la Kill seems to have had the best reception, but even that game, I mean, the IP is not going to attract a wide audience. Let's be real.
No, I don't want to show it to my girlfriend.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you do the same thing but for Naruto, people will be all over that. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the move.
Mm-hmm.
They made
Oh, I hope
a
they-
Shonen Jump MOBA or whatever that thing was. Remember? Do you guys hear about
Yeah, I heard
that?
about that. Yeah, but
They
Yeah.
could just do the same thing, but for a fighting game, and so many. I'm telling you that
They've
not
had-
Jump Force.
They've had
But-
30 plus years to do it, and the only thing we got was Dragon Ball Fighters.
dude, that's the thing. These,
That was like a bunch of anime versus game.
yeah, I mean, okay. The thing is, the companies don't want to put effort into a game, like the gameplay. That is, CyberConnect is recycling what they've already done for quite a while now. Like at this point, there's no reason for me to really play anything beyond Storm 4. That's where I wouldn't even say Storm 4 was where it peaked. That's where that's like where the drop off started. Like that's like the last hope kind of thing. And then you have Shinobi Striker, and then you have Connections, which is the worst. Like, dude, I'm really hoping that whatever they're working on for the Bleach is a fighting game for one, and for two gets things back on the right track. That's my hope for now. But yeah, it's looking pretty bleak. I think that was it, right? Those were all the releases.
Maybe we need to make new companies to start a new generation of gaming. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We the people. We the people.
By gamers for gamers.
I mean, Bandai still owns like all the Shonen Jump IPs. They're not gonna get rid of them, right? Like, who's gonna be the billionaire to snipe those IPs?
That's where licensing comes in, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound worth it anyway. Yeah, all right.
Well, we had some promising new devs like Lab Zero.
Lab Zero, you're talking about Skullgirls, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so they're pretty much done, and Team Main also doesn't.
Oh girls. Oh no.
Yeah.
That kid's failed, man. I'm sorry.
Wait. City of Wolves. The trailer SNK saw, dude, that game looked really
yeah.
nice.
Oh, we forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, SNK gets a free pass. We don't even have to talk about it. SNK games are our type.
Yeah.
They might look like shit,
Yeah.
but they'll be tight.
No, yeah. I mean, I still think KOF 15 is the best KOF, which says a lot. Like, it's rare for. I mean, okay, SF6 aside, maybe that one's debatable, but it's rare for a modern fighting game to be like the best entry in the series these days. So.
Yeah, KOF is so crisp.
Mm-hmm.
Number 15.
Yeah, I really hope they
Yeah.
persevere, like one more season at least, but we'll see.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how they mix it up in the next Fatal Fury.
We should get a
I wonder if they'll bring back the HP, that thing they had where you can set where you get your special move on your HP bar.
yeah from Garo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping they'll show some stuff off at Evo this year. That would be a great opportunity because it's fresh on people's
Hopefully.
minds. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, the gameplay shouldn't be of concern from SNK. Although there was an interview with Oda where he was considering how to make, games like KOF a bit more popular. But it was nothing like what was said for Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter, they were like, yeah, we just got to make Tekken basically, right? But for the Oda interview, he was
But you know what they can do for Virtual Fighter? They can make it fucking playable online.
right?
In step 1.
Yeah, and actually have marketing that shows they care about North American fans, but nope. Yeah, they don't care.
Okay, here's my conspiracy with Virtua Fighter. There's something in development because the final showdown did way better than they expected, but
There is something in development. It's the arcade
There's
version of 3.
that's already out, by the way.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
when I saw
Like
that, I was like,
they made a new version
yeah,
of the arcade version of 3.
I think
Yeah.
that one's already out.
It is
That's-
out
that
now,
came
yeah.
out last
Oh, it's
year.
out now. Okay.
yeah, I think it is
They're,
out.
they're,
but-
they're cooking something, but is it good?
Oh wait, no.
It'll
Rig,
be
I
an
know what you're
arcade
talking
version
about.
of 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Actually, no,
Yeah.
never mind. I'm not sure.
Only in Japanese arcades.
Yes, only in Japanese arcades, of course. Why would you release a fighting game outside of Japan? You're stupid.
I liked how they pushed the whole esports thing for Final Showdown, and that nothing ever happened with it.
No, it's actually still running, but it's only in Japan, basically.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
dude, do you know?
That game had. Oh man, it was so unplayable online. Oh god.
It's actually
I wanted to
awful.
play it so bad too. I
Yeah,
wanted to love it.
dude, I was willing to subscribe to PS Now just to play it on PC, but nope, it was terrible. The other thing though, I was gonna say is, EGP, you said
What?
nothing came out of the esports, but I mean, Beat Tribe Cup is still really strong. It's running strong.
Oh, that's true.
Beat
There
Tribe
was,
Cup is
Evo
community run.
Japan, right?
Yeah, Evo Japan. Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome if you live in Japan.
I mean,
I
it's-
don't. So.
Dude, Beat Tribe Cup is larger than Tekken events that happen in Japan. I'm not joking. That's a huge
That's
event.
great. That's crazy,
Oh,
bro.
yeah, Virtua Fighter is more popular than Tekken in Japan.
Yeah.
But
It's not even close.
Yeah.
like I don't. I like.
I don't know how like a dead game is like more popular than like a franchise that's still running. That is wild to me.
No, for real.
Here.
That's like the same problem with
So
like
everyone's
Gundam,
got their weird
right?
thing.
That's like the same problem with like Gundam, right? Oh, the new version is only in Japan, so live there or don't play it, basically.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
but Gundam's esports scene is not on the same level as Virtua Fighter. That's what I'm saying. Like that was all I was pointing out. Like anyway, yeah, Evo Japan. Let's keep an eye on that. There will probably be some stuff announced even there. And that's coming up in April, so around the corner. Yeah, and for that matter, Frosty Faustings is this weekend. That'll be the first Uni 2 tournament. That'll be the first. Is there anything else first
Is there
of?
Tekken 8?
I don't know if there's Tekken 8 there,
Assuming
but
it's all 2D stuff.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Like Breaker Evo and then Evo Japan, and then we have that third Evo that they're making. I think it's Evo Europe. That's what I'm.
I think it's Evo Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But okay, yeah. So first Uni 2 tournament, that's what will be. Yeah,
It just makes sense.
Frosty,
Mhm.
Texas Showdown.
Finally, the Blazing Strike release trailer will drop.
Blazing Strike.
Yeah, that's
Is
it.
it
If you don't know
ever
what that is,
gonna come
that's
I know
yeah,
what it is, but,
exactly.
like, is it ever gonna come out?
He pushed it into the future 10 years or something.
Because I know it's like just one guy making it, but like
Yeah,
it might
I
have finished from
understand.
the last time I saw it, but I guess maybe not.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked good, but I guess he wants to get, he doesn't want EGP to, rag on him, so he's trying to get to that 30 character roster.
Oh, speaking of which,
Okay, if it's
He's
made by one
bleeding
guy,
over
yeah,
there.
you have excuses. One dude.
speaking
It's
of
one
which,
guy
you
for
guys,
like the course of 6 to 8 years or something.
Okay,
Something
that's
crazy.
fine. If you're a whole team at Arxis, you don't have excuses.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
you guys. There was a new Yata Grass that came out, and right away it's basically in trouble. Yeah, it's dead.
There's
It's
no
gonna be dead.
rollback, right?
No rollback. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the devs were like sorry, basically something like that, right? But I don't know. I don't know what happened, but they just dropped the ball. People were actually excited for this, and of course, uh, I'm not gonna try to downplay how popular this game would have been, because this is a pretty well appreciated cult classic indie fighting game. Although, you know, time has passed since it originally released, and it's not quite going to appeal to the same people that it did before in the day, in the day and age we live in right now. So it has to get things like this done properly for it to even have a chance. Sorry, I
No, we
couldn't.
don't.
Sorry, I
I
couldn't
hear
quite
you.
catch it.
You
yeah.
remember? You remember Phantom Breaker Omnia?
Oh,
yeah. I remember
They
that.
blew all their budget on the announcer, and then they just didn't have rollback.
Oops,
Yep.
Announcer was dope, though.
gone.
I will say that.
The memes were good, at least.
It was a funny time.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Do
but
you guys have any thoughts on that Hunter x Hunter game? I'm just curious.
Hunter. I have
Call of
no
Duty.
investment in that
18
IP.
stick, man. I'm excited. It's gonna be a Kusoge for sure.
I can't wait for another Kusoge, because especially DNF dropped the ball, so.
Yeah, and people will play this one because it's Hunter. They'll release a season. They'll say we got 3 season passes on day 1.
Yeah, 'cause
I like
like
the
a
DNF
billion
characters
characters
more,
now.
though.
I'm
think the DNF
definitely
characters look better.
I'm definitely playing it if it's a fighting game, right?
It will be. It will be. We got the deets from Karushi. He talked to
Yeah.
them. He talked to them on the phone.
Especially because like I feel like a lot of shonen anime have a lot of really cool like abilities that you could be converted into like cool characters in fighting games, but
It's custom made. The fighting game's like already made when you're done with season 1 of your shonen anime. It's so
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, but
they
Life
don't.
could be so easy. They could make a shonen jump game like Madden, where they just update the roster every year.
Actually,
They could.
that'd be tight. That'd be tight.
The money's sitting out there.
So much.
Dang.
I would spend so much on that. But
yeah,
it
well,
doesn't exist.
they very well could. Why haven't they
Sadly.
done that? They don't have the devs don't have the no, not the devs. The publishers don't have the attention span for that. So that what is that? What
So
would
you
that
know,
say?
we're not so long from when Konami, went full scale pachinko. So I'm not sure they always know what they're doing over there.
Yeah. I mean, does Konami even know how to make video games anymore? At this point.
They literally
They're trying to
outsource
figure it
everything
out.
they do now, like 100%. They
Yeah, that's true.
outsource literally everything, all their ports, any game.
We're bringing Silent Hill back. We told these 5 guys to do it.
Yeah, really,
it
that's
back.
really what happened. These 5
That is
amateurs,
actually
they're
what
not even like good developers, but that's a different story.
No, we found the cheapest. It's gonna be great. I'm not gonna talk anymore, but you'll love it.
Oh, what happened to that Silent Hill demo? Wasn't there like a demo of like a new Silent Hill game, and then it just disappeared off the
Are you
face of
talking
the
about
earth?
Talk about
PT?
ET story. ET's not coming out this year, Retro Rage. I'm sorry.
Does he know?
I'm sorry to be the one to.
Does he know?
This isn't the year. It's not
I hate to break
2024.
it to you, Retro Rage.
Hey, but what's his name? Kojima. He's got that new spooky game. Might basically be the successor.
I can't wait for a new Kojima game.
The white women screaming game. I'm excited.
All right, yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
fighting games, they're looking. I don't know. We'll see. This new year, there's a lot of energy coming off SF6. So we'll see.
Are we going?
Yeah,
through,
all
like,
these
dry
games are
spell?
drafting the one true king. Yeah, we're gonna have a big dry spell coming
Because
up.
like everything just kind of came out this like next week. So
We the FGC blew the load hard. There's nothing for like 3 years. I mean, there's little stuff, but
Nah, that's a perfect opportunity for some random thing to start cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Multiverses, yeah.
No, not that game. The Bleach
The
Fighter game.
multiverses window. They perfectly played it.
All right, then I guess that's all we've got for today's episode. So I'll go ahead and close things out. Yeah, thanks everyone that joined the conversation. Thanks everyone that tuned in. I hope you all enjoyed either listening or discussing. And catch us for a future episode if you would like or if you're available. This episode has been Ursine Combo Lab Audio episode Ursine Combo Lab Audio episode number 21 on the early releases of 2024 in the FGC. I'm Cruci Drive, and here that joined me today was Cyano, Retro, Trig Jace, EGP Tekken, and Storm Claymore. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yep. And
Watch Cruci play Prince of Persia.
yeah, I'll maybe in 30 minutes from now I'll be live with that, so feel free to come through for it.
Plug.
Indeed. Yep. All right. Have a good one, guys.